Hi, Grace. Hi, Jackson. Sophia
Hey,
of
Hello.
Color. How are you both today?
Good, thank you.
It is so good to speak with you, especially after that cliffhanger, because excuse the two of you, now I am waiting for season three. Very amazing performances this season, though. And I want to ask you one of my favorite questions to always ask actors, because I imagine it's one thing when you get to play a character and then close the book on them when it's a movie or one season of a show. But for the two of you, what do you enjoy most about not only getting to revisit and reprise these roles, but revisiting the dynamic between your characters together and continuing to expand on the story?
It was so exciting. I had never done it before. I've never gotten to do a season two of anything. So it initially it was a lot of nerves and the fear of, is Lucy completely out of me and will I be able to find her again? But once we read the scripts and once we were back on set and I was in those 2008 low-rise jeans, it clicked back in a way that was really comforting, and really fun to do a season with Jackson where it was a completely different dynamic, similar but rooted in anger and war as opposed to lust and desire. And that was a different approach. That was really fun.
yeah, I same goes for me. It was so fun to do an opposite thing. Um, yeah, I've never done second season or anything like that, so it was really cool. And the genes played a big part in getting us back into
I really do.
space. They do. You squeeze into those lucky brands, and all of a sudden you're back in action.
2008, baby.
I know.
Well, you both kind of just led me into my next question perfectly because I'm curious, how do you approach the scenes in the future storyline when you haven't actually portrayed everything that's happened in between the two timelines and what's happened to your characters? Do you try to fill in those gaps yourselves or theorize to get in the right headspace since there are so many curveballs? Like, how do you approach that?
Yeah.
Theorize is the right word here because
And we don't have the genes to go. We don't have
I
the
mean, there's no
specific
genes.
genes. So it's harder to click back.
Harder to, yeah, without a gene insight.
No, it's a lot of imagination and trying to make it as specific as possible, and also talking with Jackson and Megan about potential plot points that could have happened. Um, and that's really helpful as opposed to kind of going in blindly and guessing.
Yeah.
So there were like a few things that we kept talking about, things that could have potentially happened within those 8 years and why they are the way they are now.
And yeah, trying to get the writers to write it on the spot when you're doing something in the
Yeah,
future.
we're like, but what did they say to each other?
What do you think the thing was? What do you think happened? And then they're
Yeah,
like,
and they're like,
and
we
we don't
don't
know.
know.
And like, well, think of it now so we can have something to draw from.
Well, did either of you guess that huge cliffhanger? This is where we're gonna have to talk the spoilers because, I mean, did either of you guess that? How far in advance did you know that was coming, and what was your reaction when you found out? I mean, there's so much now for a third season. Like, there's so much story left to tell.
It's
Yeah.
so true. I did not see it coming. It kind of like exceeded my expectations of how manipulative Steven actually is. We were talking about it, like the work that he had to put in to transfer an audio from a Razor to probably an iPhone or to
I'm so glad I
whatever in
wasn't the only
between.
one thinking about that.
Hey, Joe,
That was insane. I was
it's
Just
just like, no,
holding on to it and
overthinking.
waiting and just waiting. And
it's so
it's
bad shit. It's
terrifying.
to go to buy the cable to do the transfer and to get a USB. Like, come on, that's insane.
It was
As if
dedication.
being with her best friend wasn't bad enough. You know,
Yeah.
he
I
like
know.
real like, come
Yeah.
on, Jackson, what is this?
I don't know. I don't know. I know. I know. He's so scary. He's so scary.
And you're so nice. So it's the real acting talent here. I can see it
Ah.
already.
Uh,
I also want to ask you guys because I'm rooting for season three. I'm ready. I need you guys to go right back to filming after this press day. But for season three, what are your hopes? Like, what do you want answered immediately? What questions do you have going into season three? And what is the one thing you want for your character? Like, regardless of what happens, I want them to be happy, healthy, in therapy, whatever you guys want.
Well, that would be amazing.
We were
That'd
talking
be
about therapy in the
amazing.
other room.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting because like you need the drama between them as the engine, but for the characters, you want them to run away from each other. But I would be curious to see how their dynamic plays out in the present day after all that goes down. Is that the kind of like catalyst for them to get back into each other's lives? Or is it done for good? Like I really don't know. So I'm very curious to see where that goes if we get the chance.
Yeah, me too. I just want chaos. I
I
want
know it's so fun.
more. I want anarchy.
Addicting. It's addicting. All of it is addicting. Well, thank you both so much again for your time. I really appreciate it. And
Thank
congrats
you.
on really one of my favorite seasons of television of the year. It's incredible
Oh,
what you guys did.
thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Of course. Hope to speak with you again soon.
Yeah.
Yes, us too. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Have a good day. Thank
Have a
you.
great one. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Sonia. Sophia
Okay.
Soda with the Nerds of Color. And first of all, amazing work in this season. I mean, season one was great, but season two was just better and bigger. And I can't wait to hopefully do a season three. Great, great work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Course, I have to dive into your characters and their amazing arcs. When you found out what the future had in store for your characters, how did you feel about it? And what was it like to get to film that final moment with them attending the wedding as an official couple?
Yeah, I was very excited, and yeah, that wedding was fun. It was a crazy day. I can't even. I'm like, all I remember is I'm like, we ordered a pizza and it was
Yeah. Yeah.
um but yeah, it was fun to find their like body language and just moving through all of that.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like, especially in the midst of this wedding that is so chaotic and there's so many like it feels like a lot of relationships are on the line, a lot of things are ending, like things are just going left. But then I think that like Diana and Pippa, they're kind of like just this kind of stable, like they're like the eye of the storm, all this crazy stuff happening around them, but they like somehow are able to like maintain their connection and like the foundation that they've made together.
And Sonia, Pippa has such a heavy storyline this season, which you did an excellent job with. I'm curious, what do you hope a potential season three has in store for her healing journey? And is there any takeaway that you're hoping her plot gives to audiences?
Yeah, I think like the writers have done a really cool job of like loading Pippa up with just the most circumstances. Like she is chock full of like rage and pain and hurt and all of these things, and we haven't gotten a chance to see what she's going to do with that. And I think this is a show in which people make like really wild choices and they're not necessarily always maybe the most like what you would expect or maybe the best for them. And so I think it'll be really cool to see Pippa, like what is she going to do with everything that she has, maybe the weird ways that she deals with it or the toxic ways or not toxic ways. So I'm excited to see hopefully her step into some action and some catharsis with everything. Yeah.
Especially when we know where she ends up too, that she ends up in such a happy place, which is so nice.
Right.
Like, especially going on that journey.
Totally. And you don't get there just by like journaling, you get there by like being really messy and figuring things out and like making a lot of left turns and finding ways to heal. So yeah.
And Alicia, I mean, one of my favorite things about the final episodes was seeing Diana orchestrate this breakup with Stephen. And the fact that I felt like that was such a powerful thing for her and something that was so like satisfying for me as a viewer. What do you think that represented for her character and how far she's come at this point?
I think it's like she's finally free and like really like with no strings attached. Like she's made sure to like tie up all loose ends because like as we've seen like Stephen is not someone who will let someone go. Like, no one is allowed to leave him like he leaves them. And I think that she understood that on a very deep level, and understood that if she wants to come out of this, like, somewhat unscathed, like, she has to play this crazy mind game and really make herself unattractive to him. And so I think that she feels free. I think at the same time, and this is something that I talked a lot with, like, with the directors and with Megan, is that throughout this, you know, this ruse, she's also testing him. I think in the back of her mind, she's thinking, okay, like maybe he won't leave me. Maybe he will love me, even if he sees me as this failure. And I think that it's deeply disappointing that he behaves exactly like she thought he was going to.
Yeah.
So a lot of loss, but also like she leaves with a clean slate, which is it's a huge relief. I think she's relieved.
A new lease on life, I feel like, in a lot of
Right.
ways, especially
Yeah.
for your character to see explore. And just very quickly, lastly, what do you think is like your hope for season 3 for your two characters and the journey they go on to get to the wedding? What is like the one thing you hope for them?
Oh, I hope we get to see how it starts. Then I hope we just get to see more of us and the nuances of, like, there is so much goodness and positivity in the relationship, but no relationship is perfect. And I think understanding more of, like, the depth of their relationship would be fun. But I think it'd just be so fun to see, how did this happen? You know?
Yeah. I think neither of them are super in touch with or aware of their sexuality either. So like they have to like figure that out while also coming together. And like, how does that all play out and develop? Yeah.
Well, I can't wait. So thank you all so much again for your time and your excellent answers, and congratulations.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Sophia Soda with the Nerds of Color. And as a fun surprise, we're actually going to be talking all the spoilers for this one. And then I'm going to hold it for the finale. So you all are free to say everything you want, and gotta get all the juicy details out there. Spencer, Drew's death is obviously going to be extremely hard for Wrigley to deal with. What was your reaction to that twist? And what do you hope the journey teaches him in a potential season 3?
So yeah, he's dead, and I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't think it would be my fault. So that's pretty heavy. So I would imagine, you know, when you come from season 1 to season 2, Wrigley is spiraling and doing very poorly. And I would imagine that is just going to be the exact same. I think it's going to be even more of a spiral in season 3. Yeah.
We're all just going to want to keep giving him a hug. Like, I just wanted to give you a hug so badly this season.
Yeah,
It's
thank
get
you.
worse with season 3.
Yeah,
Branden, oh boy.
Yeah.
Evan decides to tell Steven about him and Lucy, which was clearly a massive mistake. How did you feel about that ending cliffhanger? And what is the biggest piece of advice you have for Evan after this finale going into a potential season 3?
I love the cliffhanger. We talked about drama before. That's drama if I've ever seen it. And I feel like it does a good job of making you wonder, like, what's going to happen next. Because, you know, you think everything is fine to some extent. And then you realize that the future is just as messed up as the past. So I thought it was great. But what advice would I give him in the
future, in the flash forward?
Well, it depends on how Bree reacts, doesn't it? It depends on how because I don't think he's gonna see it coming. I think it's gonna be a tough one. So I don't know what to tell the dude, honestly. Go to some therapy or something, figure it out, dog. The crazy part is it sounds like, you know, potentially he did figure it out. You know, obviously season 3 would explore a little more of how they end up getting back together before the wedding.
Yeah.
But I would assume that he did kind of figure some stuff out. So then to be kind of haunted by a past mistake, years ago at a
He
different
admitted to already.
and being betrayed by your, former best friend in that way, like, yeah, he might need some therapy or something. I don't know. Figure it out.
They all need therapy. We need to get them all in
We all need
therapy. Push them all in there.
Yeah.
Thomas, that fight between Leo and Steven, if that didn't happen, do you think Leo and Lucy would have had a chance? And would you like to return in a third season? Because I really hope you're not done yet. I would love to see you keep playing this character.
I know, because he kind of just disappears, doesn't he, at the end? I wanna see him again. I think it was, I mean, if it wasn't that, I think it would have been something else. I think she's so trapped with him psychologically, he's really got her. But if it wasn't that, it would have been something else.
I mean, I want to know what you're doing during the flash forward. We need to incorporate you in that third season flash forward.
Yeah,
He didn't get an invite to the wedding? Evan didn't invite him to the wedding?
maybe late.
I barely want to invite anybody else to the wedding.
Yeah, notice we're not in the wedding party.
That is true.
Yeah.
Branden, Spencer, I gotta ask you guys, one thing that I really love is getting the flashbacks and then getting the flash forwards and trying to put it together in your mind. What do you both like about that as actors and getting to kind of see where your characters end up, but also exploring how they get there?
Sometimes I don't like it because to me it's kind of, I think it's kind of fun to see, can Wrigley get out of this? Can he find a healthy path forward? And he will not, because we've seen him in the present day and he does not. So I don't really always love it, but it also can be very interesting to you could look at it a different way and be like, well, how does he get that low? And we're finding that out.
I think I liked it for the same reason that you're saying, though, Spencer. Like, I think it looks all good because for the most part, like, until we got the scripts and stuff, it wasn't really clear, like, the wedding was gonna potentially just be destroyed. So I was like, oh, okay, he ends out okay, and obviously there's little things here and there, but I'm like, oh, okay, so I know that somehow, some way, they figure it out. And then it's interesting because you're building up to something that's a cliffhanger that you build up to something else that's also a cliffhanger. So it's interesting to kind of playing the duality of the two, because I guess when you're playing it and when you are shooting it, you obviously can't play the end. So you have to an acting teacher told me a long time ago, you always have to play as if you're trying to get, I know. I knew you were gonna say something. You always have to, you always have to play like you're gonna win. Like we're all doing things hoping for a positive result. So I guess that's the best way to constantly look at it. It's like, I'm gonna hear about this later from Spencer, but I guess I kind of like it in that way too.
Did you go to acting school?
No, we don't have to talk about that. We
Thomas, Branden, Spencer, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I can't wait to see what's next with this. I'm ready for season 3, so hurry it up. Get back to filming.
Thanks, Sophia.
Thanks,
Sophia.
See you again.
Bye. Nice seeing you again, Thomas.
In the lectures, fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life, comics, movies, and TV. Yeah, pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.